talk a little bit about the triple jump. One thing I would highly recommend when you are getting ready to introduce kids to the triple jump, start with some video, because they're not going to have much of a clue as to what you're talking about. When you're talking about running fast and staying flat, being reactive off the ground and getting your knees up and having speed, positions, and intensity, and they're not going to quite understand it. But if you show them a well-done triple jump, all of a sudden they see that whole picture. And instead of this really odd event that just seems like it's impossible to put all these different parts together, they can see it flow and how easy it looks and how easy it kind of becomes. But I like to start with that. And if you got the outline in there, I'm not even sure. I think it's pretty good. I guess I sent it to them, so I can't blame anybody but me. But we'll go through this thing real quick. I mean, I feel kind of goofy up here doing triple jump for the 11th time, and you guys have all heard it. And there's about probably 7 or 8 different approaches to it and different terminologies. And one coach says do this and concentrate on that. The next one has a little different idea. And they're not any of them wrong. They'll all produce good people if you're doing it with a little intensity and focus and enthusiasm and all those things that it takes. But these are some thoughts I have real simply, and jot notes down in the margin there and ask questions when I get to something you disagree with or you want clarified. And we'll go through this kind of quick. I've got a video of Jonathan Edwards' world record. I've got a couple other guys that I coached on that happen to be at the same meet. So we'll kind of run through there and just kind of let you see what it ought to look like. How tall they're supposed to stay and how flat the trajectories are, and they're not a bouncing ball, they're skipping stone, and all those little analogies. And you may actually have to go out and skip stones across a pond. I've done that. Because some kids say, what do you mean? It's kind of fun. You go out there and you pick up a round rock, right? A round one. And you throw it out in the water, and I don't care how you throw it, it makes a great big splash and it doesn't go anywhere. That means there's no fat triple jumpers. Right? No such thing as a good fat triple jumper. So, we do that, and I always tell them the splash represents pain. If you can imagine that, if the splash is big, you hurt bad. All right, then the next thing we do is we get some really nice, even, fair type. Every rock's the same, so we don't have any variables there. And I stand real tall and throw it from a pretty high angle, and it goes out, it comes down real steep, and it hits, and it bounces a couple or 3 times because it's a real nice flat rock, and I know how to do it. But it doesn't go very far. So that kind of lets them know that a tall trajectory coming way down from going way up doesn't go real far. And then you get down nice and low and get that perfect angle, and you throw it easy. And it hardly hurts. Boy, skip, skip, skip. Just really nice and sweet. Just goes out there. But it doesn't go very far. Why? It's too slow. So you get down nice and low. You have that low trajectory. You take that rock and you go. And it just goes skip, 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 skip. And ends up on the other bank. Jumps up on the other side. Fast. Flat. Slim and trim. Goes the way I say triple jump. It's a low, flat trajectory. If you can imagine this, if there was a tunnel over the runway, and it went from the board to the jump takeoff, and they probably don't want to bump their head on the tunnel, right? Boom, boom, trying to get out of the other end of the tunnel. So if they could visualize this tunnel being just a couple of feet above their head, it's not go down and hop, boom, step, boom. It's hop through the tunnel, step through the tunnel, and when you get to the open end, you jump as high and far and as hard as you can, just like you do it at the long jump. That's just a little thought, they can all kind of visualize that. First of all, how fast will you run through the board? Not can you run. The best guy I ever had, Mike Conley, long jumped at 11 meters per second, triple jumped at 10. How fast would he run to the board, triple jumping? 10 meters per second. Until he got to the Olympic finals when he won and set a record, and then he went nearly 11. But the faster the better, but again, you're landing on one leg on a runway, and that tends to temper your enthusiasm a little bit. I always got Mike, I said, Mike, you want to be the first 60-footer, you want to be a guy that goes 61, you want to put the record out of sight, you're going to have to go the same way. He says, look, I'll run anybody else's full speed in here, but I'm not going to run mine. You know, I'll run his full speed or his full, you know, I'll run anybody's full speed on our team, but I'm not going to run mine, and I don't think they'll run mine if they could. And, you know, he was being honest. So it is about speed and how fast will you run. I love the triple jump because it is a blue-collar event. In a long jump, you can take a fancy person out there that can run and jump and get out of their way and let them run and jump. But the triple jump is kind of ugly. And if you don't get pretty good at it, it just knocks your fillings out. Every time you try to do it, you just hurt, your knees hurt, and your back hurts, and it's just like, why would anybody do this? But what it does, it allows you to take all those tough kids. See, every one of us has lots of tough kids and not very many talented ones, right? If I talk to y'all and believe half of what you told me, that's what I'd hear. Well, I don't have any good athletes. I just got some good, tough kids. Well, triple jump's a great event for that guy. The guy that's going to demonstrate one of these DVDs for you is Brian Wellman. Brian Wellman went to 4 Olympics. Now, that's 16 years, right? That's a long time to be an Olympian. And he's not very fast. He doesn't have a good vertical jump. He's very powerful. He got in the weight room. He did the things he could do. And he's a pretty good technician. And it gave him a chance. He could compete against Mike Conley in the triple jump, couldn't come close to him in the long jump. He could beat Eric Walder in the triple jump, but he couldn't beat Eric Walder in the long jump. He could beat Melvin Lister in the triple, but he couldn't beat him in the long jump. He won the World Indoor Championships, and he set record. He was in the top 5 in the world for like 8 years in a row. And it was because he was tough, he knew what he was doing, he knew how to do it, he was willing to do it. And so I like that about the event. You can learn to do it, and you can be tough enough to do it, and you can be successful at it. The length of your approach, too short is better than too long. You can go out beside the track, get away from the runway, and watch your athletes run down the track, and watch them. And you'll know within a step when they quit getting better. You know, they take off. If it's a girl, if it's a young person, if it's like I'll have a summer camp, and I have all these kids, you know, girls, guys, the whole thing. And they're back there, and they running. Heck, I can't even hardly see them on the horizon. They're just running and running. You know, they look around and wave to somebody. They're still running. I mean, what is the point? Run till you get as good as you're going to get and jump. And in most cases, it's probably 12 steps. Anything beyond that, the acceleration curve goes like this, and then it kind of might level off for a couple, and then it starts doing this, and then they jump. Well, guess what? The airplane I'm flying home on is not going to do that. It's not going to go down the runway getting better and better and better, and then slow down and take off. Hopefully. And the same laws of physics, the same gravity, the same everything works on the human being and the airplane. You've got to accelerate away from the earth. So you want to hit the board at the best part. Okay? Don't get to the good stuff and then just hang on until you get to the board. So find that out. But too short allows them to be aggressive. They have to be aggressive. The first, we had an inter-squad meet, we triple jumped from 8 steps. Because that meet, they really had to get back and get after it. If I say go back to 16, they'd take off running, and they start kind of getting careful because they're not really ready to go that fast, that far. So they back off. Well, I don't want that. I want them to be going. I want to be begging for 2 more steps. I want to go back, go for it from short. That way it's not as scary. You know, you start putting on too much. If you make your athletes to say, look, you're not ready. You're not ready to back up. We're going to go 4 steps till you get comfortable with it. Then eventually we'll go back to 6 steps. A step is this. That's a step. A stride is from here to here. Okay, you all know that, I'm sure. But so we just count the steps, 6 steps. And then when they get really comfortable with that, and they're just putting pressure on me like crazy to back up to, say, 8 steps, I'll hold them off another day or 2, and then I'll say, okay, we'll go back to 8 steps. All right. Well, now, the burden of proof is on who? The athlete. They begged me to do it. I didn't say go do it. So now they've got to make it work. And I'll kind of say, I don't know if you guys are ready for this. I'm not quite sure you're ready. Of course, I know they are. I would let them do it. But they're going to prove to me they are, and they're going to go far, and they're going to do what they, you know. So make sure it's not too far. They've got to stay aggressive. I like an athlete's check mark 6 steps off the back of the board. And you just heard in the last presentation that drive phase, those first 6 steps, you're down, you look like a sprinter coming out, you're pushing in the runway, you're driving hard, and you have a mark right down there that represents where you're going to step on your 6th step. That means if you got an 18-step approach, which would be plenty long, the first 1/3 of it is perfect. because you saw yourself step right there. That's my mark. Okay? Now your head transitions back up and you find the pit. You don't run down here looking straight at it and try to read it. Peripherally, you just see your foot hit that and you right down the runway. The first 6 steps is where the most variation is going to come from. You know, how many different ways can you take your first 6 steps? Bunches. Little bitty chops, big long stretches, funny looking stuff. The first 6 steps is where they're going to have the most variation. So how do you establish what 6 steps are? It's about 31 feet for most of my guys. You get them on the track, away from the runway, you start at the starting line, standing position, they run 40 yards. We all know how fast they can run 40 yards. I got somebody timing them. They don't even know what I'm doing. I'm standing out here in the middle watching them. So they got to run a good time or I don't count it because I want it to be real. How fast can you run 40 yards? So they stand here just like they're doing, getting ready to go down the long jump runway, and boom, they go. We catch step number 6. They go again. We catch step number 6. They go again. And we go again and again and again until I get a pattern. I put a little piece of tape down on the runway when they step by me. Well, you're going to get this one out here, and you're going to get one back here, and you're going to get a bunch right here. In fact, you can put a shoe on top of this bunch of tape. That's a good idea. Put their shoe there. They got their spikes on, put a training flag right there on the outside of the runway where it's legal, where they can see it, adjacent to the foot that they're taking the 6th step with. If they're a right-footed guy, don't put it on the left side of the runway. Put it right there beside their foot. Make sure they do that. I got some goofy guys that put them over here in the right foot. I said, what's this? Can't see it as well. I want it right there. Now, once you establish that, that makes me feel a lot better. I've got a lot more confidence in what we're doing, and so does the athlete. They know, hey, I can take off. Now, let me tell you my philosophy on running down the runway. Go. Like your pants are on fire. Right from the start. The easiest thing to duplicate is 100%. Let me give you a little deal. I've got a blocking dummy up here, a football dummy, and I give this guy a baseball bat. And I say, come up here and I want you to hit that dummy 93%. What's 93%? Hell, he doesn't know what 90. He knows it pretty damn good. And there's a little gauge on the top that tells us how hard he hit it. Okay, then I throw another number, 85. 97. Okay? Then I go back to 93. He's not going to be within 3 or 4 percentage points. Nobody knows. But if I say hit it as hard as you can, boom! And that thing registers. And I throw another number at it, and I say hit it as hard as you can again. Boom! Thing registers. You think he can get close to 100%? All out's all out, isn't it? He's going to be within 1 or 2% all the time. That's why I like it. Because, you know, I know you saw Mike Powell, and he does these big, long walking thing for the crowd, and Willie Banks, and these guys that had fun with it. And they're good, and they've been doing it for 40 years, and they ought to be good at it. But the point is, everything you do, you have to duplicate. You know, you have that athlete that gets that rare, perfect jump, and you say, oh, my God, that's awesome. Let's do it over and over and over. He doesn't know what he did. He doesn't know how he started. He's not sure how he accelerated. He doesn't know where it was 6 steps out. He doesn't know where he was 4 steps from the board. He doesn't know anything. He just knows it was really good. I want to know all that. So we got that 6-step check mark. And then I have, I'll probably get ahead of myself, I don't know. Then I got a coach's check mark that he doesn't pay attention to, and it's 4 steps from the board. And in our case, it's usually around 31 feet. But I got several athletes, so I put one mark. I don't put them for everybody because now everybody else is doing what we're doing, and it really gets confusing out there. So now we have a 1 foot length of tape on both sides of the runway because I'm sitting up in the stands adjacent to it, and then we double it. So it's double wide, foot long. We're the only ones that have that so far. So I can still look down there and see where they are. Well, one of my guys might need to have their heel on the tape. One of them might need to be right in the middle of the tape. One of them might better touch the toe. I know what this is from trial and error. So when athlete A comes down and he's supposed to be dead on 31, I want his foot, the toe touching 31. And that I know then he can be as perfect as he can be and be right on the board. He won't foul. He won't have to chop. He won't have to stretch. Everything's perfect. Okay, now see how you can get some security out of that? Now, I also film it all the time. I get somebody filming it. So let's just say, does anybody here, raise your hand, if you've ever coached an athlete whose longest jump was a foul? 101% of you, huh? That's exactly right. Now that's bull crap. Because how far do they foul? About that? Is that pretty normal? About, they always want to show you. I don't watch the board because there's that heavy-set, red-headed woman with one good eye watching the board. Every time, right? She is going to let you know if it's a foul or not, so you don't have to sit and hang on that board. And even if she's wrong, she's going to let you know, so it doesn't matter. But I want to check 4 steps on the board. All right, now let's say this guy comes down and his foot, the arch of his foot, hits his normal, perfect check mark. And he gets to the board and he fouls by a foot. But it's awesome. Now, can't we do the math? He's 6 inches over the line, here, my line, and he's a foot over the foul line. So if he moves back a foot, we now have a new 4-step check mark, right? Because that was his best ever. And I just as soon duplicate that. So we all do the math. He has a new 4-step check mark, and damn it, do it just like you did last time, and we'll be good. See, the sooner you can get an athlete to trust what he's doing and not reinvent himself every damn time down the runway, you're going to be much better off. You work your tail off, morning, noon, night, September through whenever, 5 days a week to get this all down, and then to go to a damn track meet and try to change it. They want to change their check marks because today there's something wrong with this one, coach. It's just too close and it's too this. I said, forget it. Get back on your mark. We've done it in rain, snow, cold, hot, windy, no wind. We've done it every way you can do it. This is our check mark. Get yourself in a groove. Get right. And that's important too. Don't just change it every time. You've got to have something you hang on to. If you just change it, you don't even know, no sense even having it. So anyway, we're running down there. We're trying to zero. See, this isn't rocket science. So I told the first group, I hope coaching is about 75% art and 25% science, or I've been faking it for a heck of a long time. I am not scientific. I just watch you do it, and by God, that was better than that. And let's do more of that and less of this. Let's get it right. Let's zoom in on the one that felt good and went good. And was just so we're always looking for that consistency. Single arm, when we get to the board, I want them to maintain their speed. A single arm off the board is important because if they start getting ready, they stop running. The guy that wins is usually the guy that will sprint the closest to the board before they accommodate the board. Okay, you see what I'm saying? A lot of people, they take off, well, they're just running like, well, they're looking good, running fast, and all of a sudden that board starts to loom on the horizon, and they say, ooh, then their knees drop, and they start shuffling and get ready, there it is. And if they pull back both arms and run about 5 steps like this, so you double arm, that's not fast either, is it? So you run right up to the board, and boom, you're gone. Just carry it right through the board. The best triple jumpers you'll play, heck, catching them slowing down at the board. Now, in reality, they really will a little bit because they do quit running and they do take off. But you want to conserve as much of your momentum and velocity as you possibly can. Don't give it back at the board. Again, the airplane, right? It's got to go. You don't run right up to the moment of truth to take off and shut it down. You carry it with you. And the guy that carries it with him the best sure has an edge over the guys that get leery and check it up and slow down and give back their speed. Okay, flat trajectory, kind of went through the skipping stone instead of a bouncing ball. Body posture is always tall. Now, if you could imagine, there's a thing here across the room. What if that was a traction bar right there, and I put my athlete under that bar, there's rollers on there that will freely roll the length of that thing right there. And he comes down, and there's a big, strong spring, and just barely lets him touch the ground, and there's a chin strap, a harness. And he's underneath it, and he runs down a triple jump. You know who does that? Who looks like that? Ever hear of Jonathan Edwards? Doesn't he look like he's just about stretched and high? To me, that must work. You got a funny-looking white kid that looks like a misplaced or displaced 800-meter runner with gray hair jumping 60 feet. And he does it that way. Well, let's do it. Until somebody does it better. I kind of like that. Because the taller you stand, the worst thing you can do in the triple jump is get out here and put your foot out here, and then you go down to here, and then you shuffle through here, and then you come out the other side for your step phase. Look how long you stayed on the ground in one spot. We're trying to get on the ground here and off here with very little flexion and with very little time spent. We look at what I call full support, where your foot is flat on the floor. Now I realize every video machine is different, has a different number of frames for whatever and all that. But mine, I want them off the ground in 4 clicks. They're flat-footed, 1, 2, 3, 4, off the ground. I can live with 5. 6 makes me mad. And you'll get lots of 6s and lots of 7s. That means they're hitting, they're squashing down. In fact, if you're doing it by the frame, the first time they get flat, their arms are way back here, and you click it once, and it goes, then you click it again, and it goes, and then you click it again. Oh, hey, that's the good stuff. Eliminate the bad stuff. Get taller, get on top of that foot here, and the next one's you're going forward and upward. You're not sitting there going down, down, down before you come up, up, up. Yeah.
What do you teach? I have an athlete that's been hovering around 40, 43, in the low 40s.
She's pretty good.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's a he, but I've been trying to impress upon him the active landing. How do you address that with your athletes as far as what they're doing at the strike point each time? Are they bringing their hip?
Done it in a million ways. We always talk about, to me, there's 3 things: speed, position, and intensity. If you don't go fast and stay fast, all bets are off. If you get in goofy positions, well, goofy positions is anything but up, 90 degrees here, landing gear up, extend, and pull. Anything, if you drive to here, drop your foot there, there's all kinds, those don't work. Big cycles, here, out here, and here. Now, for a long time we used the word, I think it's even in here. Of course, this is probably 25 years old. Anyway, we always talk about calling action, active landings, those kinds of things, right? Well, think about this. When we're talking about the landing, we're talking about the end of the first phase. Would we be better served thinking about the beginning of the second phase? Now, it's all semantics, it's all a mind game, but what we're trying to do now is we're up here on the hop, and we're coming through, and we're getting big, and we're being patient, sting like a, well, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. Who said that? Anyway, you come off the ground, you bang, you're off the ground. Sting like a bee, float like a butterfly. Up here, boy, this is nice. This is where I want to be. I need to stay here a long time. I extend, and then, boom, I'm up in the next phase. I'm really thinking about my arm drive, my knee drive, the next to this, getting the step phase. That's pretty aggressive, but did you notice I put this foot down pretty quick when I get this one up pretty quick? It's kind of hard to not do that. Try doing it sometime. Bring one up quick and take the other one down slow. I don't think you can. Okay, but you're thinking the next phase. You know, I get lots of kids, they get all strung out, and they're back here, and their trail legs a little bit lagging back here, and they're thinking about here instead of thinking about here. If they think about the recovery leg coming through quick, and their arms coming through quick, they're less likely to leave them behind to get those 2 ugly clicks on my machine. So I think that that's what I'd recommend. What you want?
Yes.
Okay, you're welcome. Arm punch, I like single off the board, then you can do doubles through the step. And the jump, simply because I think there's more balance involved, plus you can always sell the idea that can't you go with more juice than you can go with one. I like 2. It's a balance thing, it's equilateral. You're back here like this, and you also, when you go, you kind of balance this way and come here. Don't let them start butterflying. This isn't doing them any good. That arm recovers back here. I want to see a guy looks like he hurt himself, like he's fixing for something back here, okay? And then they come right here because you're lifting and you're pulling forward. You're not going out here. You're not going over here. It's whoop. So just do it like that. And again, be aggressive. Speed, position, intensity. That's the intensity part, is getting on and off the ground. All right, always want to to lead with your knee, have your landing gear up, drive it here. That's a shorter radius than here, and short radiuses move faster. And we're trying to explode into this position, okay? Landing gear is up. We're not ready to come down. If I had you stand up and hold your leg out there for a while, it gets kind of hard. You can do this all day. Do the easy one. Drive it up, wait, 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 boom. Extend, pop. Next leg comes through. So just kind of keep the landing gear up. The foot inside the knee, not in front of it. You'll have a lot of that. Phase ratios, I am always striving for a jump-dominated triple jump. That means the jump phase is 2% or bigger than the hop phase. In reality, it's usually the other way around. Now let me tell you, who wants to have their longest phase, their most dynamic phase, their biggest phase, their toughest phase, to be the first one that goes big and high and far, and then you got to land where? On the mondo with one foot. That takes some of the fun out of it. I'd rather let the distance on the hop phase be the result of the speed off the board. I don't want any heroics. I don't want you out here cranking it, holding it, or I can go just one point. Just cycle and boom. Let the speed off the board take care of the distance on your hop phase. Now, remember we talked about boom into the step phase? Now you're carrying that speed because you got off quick and you still got most of your speed. You're going through the step phase, it's the same thing again. You're feeling it, well, you don't hold it, hold it, hold it, and try to step close to the sand and win the hop step contest, of which there isn't any. Okay? So you're up here, and now it's the same kind of thing. You're coming through here, and you can serve in, bam, now you've got a big jump phase. Conley's jump phase on his 59.8 Olympic win was 23.4. Now you've got to be running pretty fast or going pretty fast to jump 23.4. And guess what? He landed on 2 feet in the sand. Didn't hurt at all. If you could think of it, this is kind of weird. If you could think about this as a really strange long jump, and I'm going to run real fast, but instead of the normal long jump, I've got to do these 2 things first, and then I'm going to really jump far. Now see, I don't mean to discount it to the point that you're just getting it out of the way so you can jump. But if you can think about what I'm really interested in, we do drills like this. The winner is the guy with the biggest jump phase. Okay? Where did he touch down on his step? And how far did he jump? Measure that. And it makes him concentrate on that. And I don't want it to get squirrely where they're just doing stupid hops and steps. But basically, hop, step, jump. The jump is just like the jump. Just like a long. I want them to drive their lead knee at least parallel, if not above. I want their arm leading like this, bam, real big. I want them to drop back like that, and I want them to pull over the top and extend as far as they can, hit and slide. You pull all the way past your feet, past your seat, chicken wing, so you don't touch the sand. Okay? That's the part I don't want to talk about because you heard it a million times. But you'll never jump farther than you can get your heels from the board. Got pretty profound. You ought to write that down. Some of them think you're smart for saying that. You'll never jump farther than you get your heels from the board. So what should your athlete be doing? Making dang sure they got that complete extension with their chest on their thighs, parallel to the sand, reaching as far as they can, get those heels in the sand as far away as possible, and then go to great lengths not to beat yourself by sitting down back here. Get your butt up on top of your heels and slide out some kind of way. So you're always trying to go as far. I can show my athletes every jump they've ever made, and they can all sit there just as they start to touch the sand. I stop and say, could you have gone 2 or 3 centimeters farther? And they're looking at it and say, sure. Well, then do it. Because you know what? One of them didn't get a ring last year because he was 9th in the SEC triple jump, and he missed it by 1 centimeter, and he had to score to get a ring. That's pretty heavy, isn't it? Kind of important. And I can show him where he could have easily gotten 10 centimeters on the same jump. Don't be careless. You're always stretching that lane. You're always working, get everything you can, and then slide out.
So is there, my understanding from what you're saying is if you're having kids that don't have significant jump phases, maybe look at phase 1, phase 2 more so, or are there actual drills in which we can do better our jump phase? I mean, I break it down to like a 2-step, 4-step. We do an active step phase into a jump phase. And maybe I'll put a breakaway at low height and put a pit in the sand and actually try to get up to it.
Yeah.
But I don't know what else to do.
Can I write that down and use it? Sounds good to me. We do a drill where we've got a little box. It's about it's a 2x4 on edge high with 2 pieces of plywood. So what does that make it? 4 inches high, something like that. 4 feet square. Mondo on top, set it on the runway and cheat. We'll run off of that. We'll run off of that. We'll take a step and jump. That lets us run short, get the same kind of normal elevation you would be if you ran a full approach, and you step off of the box and you jump into the sand. Step, jump. We forget the hop, so you can focus a little bit more. So what you're trying to do is just step and jump. Step and jump. You kind of have to put the step in front of it to make it more real. You know, you could, now listen, here's something else we do, is that most kids want to hop on their dominant leg, the one that they long jump off of, because they get to hop and step off of that good leg. We don't have good legs and bad legs in triple jump. You realize that, okay? You have great legs and awesome legs. Anyway, we have them do some long jumps off of the other leg. Just long jumps, 6 steps, jump. Because now they're using their non-dominant leg to do the jump phase, and they need to learn how to do that. See, how many of you have a kid that has a step phase about that long? You know what that is? That's to save himself from falling down. He's hopped so far and so fast that he's just about to crumble to the floor, so he saves himself and jumps. That's basically it. The little short, quick step phase is a safety step. They're not ready to take that big long hop and transition into a nice long step. So they land and they go, whoop, step and jump. They got to even out the phases. I think I got a drill here that shows you that. Let me put the thing in here. We'll look at a triple jump first. Maybe. Yeah. I bet every time you turn this off, does it go back to 0? I hope it did. Yards farther on the next 10 bounds for distance, because they're thinking horizontal. They're thinking go out, 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 not up, up, up. Okay, this is a weight sled here, and we usually pull 10% of our body weight. I mean, that's kind of our normal thing. This is heavier than 10%. But again, that just exaggerates the muscle groups that it takes to sprint, to run hard. And we're always trying to make, I think a good philosophical position or point of view to come from is you want to make competition the easiest thing you do. Just going in and triple jumping on a Mondo runway is a piece of cake compared to the stuff I got them doing here. And that's what you make it difficult so that just plain triple jumping is real easy. Can't believe he has the audacity to catch his breath.
Is there a particular body type you would prefer if you were picking out some athletes to try?
Yeah, don't get into that, because I've had guys that were too short that jumped too far, and guys that were too tall that didn't jump far enough. I mean, it's just say like everything else. I mean, everybody like to have the 6'3", 185-pound superstar. But we go for distance. We will do 20, we do 30 pounds for distance. We got several guys that get out around 110, 114 yards in 30 pounds. Here he is trying to revive himself. I did this to keep him humble. But anyway, but you notice that's a very forgiving surface. If you have a real good football or soccer field that has good grass, doesn't have a bunch of ankle biters out there, that's a good place to do it. If you have to be inside because of weather, try to find a tumbling mat, gymnastics mat, wrestling mat, whatever. Those are great. Surely there's an old one someplace, you're trying to get ready. This is just, we're kind of warming up now to go in the weight room. And this is just a cannonball throw. We just pick it up, it's 20 pounds, we just pick it up and throw it. And you can see how it gets these ankles, knees, hips, shoulders, the whole thing. And Actually, we have a thing up there that they're supposed to hit, so that tells me they're doing it. These chair walks, we've had some guys that have chronic hamstring problems. We do chair walks, and that just isolates the hamstring, and of course that's rolling across AstroTurf, and it doesn't roll very good, so I like it even better. But we actually could go down here, go up the ramp, come across the top and go down the ramp and just do circuits. But anyway, we do this, especially if a person has had a hamstring problem. It just burns like crazy. When we get done with this, we obviously got to stretch and elongate it. We don't want to get them all bunched up, make them tight. But you got to find you a chair with casters on it like that and just walk. This gets kind of long. Let's just speed it up. Okay, this is what, while he's standing around getting ready to do the next thing, we do, okay, we just do these stretches, and they don't rush through it. This is a shin curl. We've got a fancy little machine here, but you can do it with a paint bucket with sand in it. Sit on a table that the sand bucket doesn't hit the ground, and have one paint bucket, a gallon bucket with about 2 inches of sand, and one with 4 inches, and 1/2 full, and 1/3 full, and sit there and pull your toe up 40 times. Now this is a great exercise right here. There's 20 steps there, and this goes into, this is our old weight room, by the way. I wish I had our new one, it's pretty nice. But anyway, we go up every step, hit every step with each foot. And we do it for time. So he's got to really get quick. Now he's just demonstrating, so I don't know how well he's going to do it, but you got to come up there as fast as you can. Then after we've done both feet hitting every step, we'll go up with 2 feet and go 5 steps at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now Brian has done that in less than 2 seconds with a 15-pound weight vest on. And he can do it on one leg in about, without a weight vest obviously, in about 2.2. And the fastest anybody's ever come up there without anything is 1.65. So that's pretty fast to go 20 steps in 4 hops. But, we're just lucky to have carpeting and a wide stair. Everybody has stairs someplace that you can do this kind of stuff. But that's pretty tough. 4 steps at a time. All right, this is an exercise we call shoulder punch, for lack of a better thing. One thing that you've never seen a jumper come in and go like this, have you? So you don't need to be a great bench presser. You've never seen a jumper come in and go like this, have you? Hopefully. No, we don't do curls. But you see them going like this once in a while? So that's what we do. We work on that, the anterior deltoid, we punch, we recover back, we punch. We have a problem of our guys, like Brian. He could gain 10 pounds in 2 weeks with just solid muscle if I let him do lots of bench presses and all that upper body stuff. And he looks great. And his body fat will be 3.8 and all that stuff. But he doesn't need those extra 10 pounds to triple jump far. Hip flexor, drive it up high, hold it for a split second, let it down slow. Drive it up quick, hold it for a second, let it down slow. These are all muscle groups that we feel like are involved in running and jumping. And that's basically why we do it. Okay, abdominals, we try to work in at least 200 abdominals every day. And anything he wants to do, he kind of wanted to show you what he had, so he took off his shirt. But that looks pretty good. You got athletes that look like that. It was kind of fun. About 3 or 4 years ago, there were a bunch of baseball players and some football players and all these guys in the weight room. They were kind of arguing about something. I said, I tell you, in a heartbeat, we can tell who the best athletes are in the room. Well, how are you going to do that? And I said, I had about 5 of my guys come over. I said, stand right here. And I said, pull up your shirt. I give them one, and it was just ripped, like that. And I said, okay, now you guys pull your shirt up, man. and that's the middle. That's where it all starts. I mean, if you're not good right here, you got a terrible weak link. I don't care how much you squat and bench press and curl and all that stuff. If you're weak right here, that's not good. Now, this is a nice little doodad ad machine that we think it helps a little bit on the stability of the, if you happen to land a little bit awkward, you kind of have that adductor muscle that can pull you back together. Leg extensions, we don't go to 90 degrees, we keep it up, we just try to solidify the patella. You don't want it sliding around, so you tighten it up by doing that against more abdominal stuff. There's so many different ways to get your abdominals in. Am I going to roll back? I'm sorry. Didn't mean to do that, guys. I don't know if it's fast or forward. Here we go. Fast on this stuff. All right, this, I call that the praying drill. You hold your feet, you go down and touch your chest and come back up, and you just pray you don't let go and mash your face on the floor. But I tell you, that's a great hamstring thing. And you want to, like you can put a dummy or somebody sitting in front and have them come down as far as they can come and touch and come back, and then gradually get to where they go all the way to the floor.
Do you hold the person in the back?
Yeah, just sit on their feet. Just sit on them and have somebody hold it from the back. Now these are a few things. Now this is a one-legged press. I like this because it takes your back out of it. We have a tendency to be stronger in our legs than we are in our back, and I just don't want a guy to put 600 pounds on his back and hurt his back by doing that, because he can. All right, we do stadium stuff, and I showed this because it's real simple. Everybody can. The 60-row stadium. Not everybody has that, but anyway, those are just some things that just give you an idea of what you can do. And all of those things, and we do them in various numbers, quantities. We do, just as many as you want or as few as you want, all that kind of stuff. And it is a matter of consistency. When you're working out, you've got to have the same intensity and consistency all the time. You can't have a throwaway day. It's important. Now, your rest days, they're not throwaway days either. They're important to rest just as well as you work. But it's important to let them have time off or to do other things. We like to go to the swimming pool. If we had a really tough day, we'd go get in the swimming pool and I let them screw around in there for 20 minutes. And it's amazing how much better they feel when they come out. And they just mess around. I mean, they don't necessarily swim. Some of them swim. Some of them just walk around. Some of them, it just doesn't matter. But if you have access to a swimming pool, hydrotherapy is kind of an amazing thing. Does anybody have any questions? That's usually the best part of this thing, because if you ask them a question, probably 10 other people want to know the same thing. Anybody?
Do you have any suggestions to teach the kids to do the double arm? How do you do stuff?
Well, they can just walk and do it for a while, and then just do really easy bounce and just concentrate on their arms. You start from scratch. You start real easy and then let them just work. Quite a few of the guys we have don't know how to do a double arm. They feel awkward with it. Yeah.
Are there any beginner tips that you would suggest?
For a triple jump? I don't know. I mean, probably just anything you can get out of a video book. It's all things. I mean, it's just, I'm sorry about that one tape I had. I've got it with Jonathan Edwards, but it really does show really well done triple jump. I think we got somebody coming in here in a minute, so we're going to have to quit. I do have some of these videos of the workout. If you want them, they're $20, and I've got some if you want one, you can come up and get it. And I'll be around until about 3 this afternoon. So if you got any questions, you're kind of bashful, you can come up and talk to me. Thank you.